and he was, his thing is, he doesn't really care about wrestling. He doesn't owe, he doesn't owe wrestling anything. He's coming this from something else, and he wants to be the best. And I think that sort of attitude, it's kind of a good thing because it gets him over even more heelish to the crowd than what a lot of other people can get. So, I think if he comes out talking like that, he could be one of the more genuine heels that we have on the in the entire roster. If he keeps talking like that, because I thought it was good stuff back then. So yeah, for me, Baron Corbin in this one at WrestleMania. Okay, let's take a couple more questions before we move on, because they are coming in rapidly here. There's a few predictions coming out here. So Bart now. I don't care what anyone says. Goldberg is the man. Deal with it. Okay, we will. Cheers, Bart. Shane, match stealer for me will be Owens and Jericho. Do you think this is Taker's last WrestleMania? I said this last time. All of these WrestleManias could be the Undertaker's last one. We do know he's got surgery at some point. Listen, all I'm going to say is what I said last time. If you're there live, make the most of it, because it's coming, and when it happens, it's going to come out of nowhere, similar to how the streak finished. That's all I'm going to say about it. So yeah, potentially, Matt, what for you? You still under the same sort of opinion with the Taker, and when it's going to be time to call it a day?
Yeah, I think when it's time, it will be time. I mean, it's got to be drawing near, and that's the problem, isn't it? Every year you feel like this is the one, and that time is getting shorter and shorter. But the guy, he's just got such a passion. He just don't want to give it up, and I've got to respect that. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to another SmackDown match, shall we? And this is one of the more, supposedly the new attraction every year that we might get here, Matt. Hope we don't, but Corey Graves said it done nothing for him. Matt, Shane McMahon versus AJ, is it doing anything for you?
No, it's doing nothing for me. We spoke about this many times now, and this has got to be my pet peeve of the WrestleMania card. The match that should be stricken, that shouldn't be there, and it's not looking good for Shane McMahon, because if we go back a previous year, that's the match that should be stricken from there. And shouldn't be there. Every year, we're getting some sort of match. And I just don't understand it. It's like they're booking Shane McMahon like he's a measuring stick of the industry. He's fighting all of the top names and legends, and AJ Styles is amazing in that ring, and Shane McMahon would be lucky if he had 10% of AJ's moveset. Shane can jump off some amazingly high things, I give him that, but he can't do a 450 off of a springboard into the ring,
I've tried to give this the benefit of that, and let me just tell you, folks, there have been some of the matches going into this that I wasn't keen on, but I've seen a bit of the feud. They've sold me a little bit more. Okay, I am adaptable. I do change. But this one, I've got to say, I'm still in the same mindset that I was when I heard the rumour of this ages ago. I still feel like this is a total waste of AJ's time. Matt, what makes it even worse now is when I heard this. Shawn Michaels, Matt, he came out on a podcast, I'm sure you heard it, and he's now officially said that he was offered a match with AJ Styles. It wasn't at the Royal Rumble, it was at WrestleMania. He turned it down. When you hear that, it makes it even worse, doesn't it?
Yeah, you could say that. Because Shawn Michaels, again, he is what I would call a measuring stick in the industry. He is one of the greatest performers in that ring, of all time. And now, this generation, AJ is of that caliber, and them two to collide would have been something really special. But Shane McMahon, he is a normal man turned wrestler. Wrestling's in his blood, yes, but it's not his main objective. He's not his main priority, you know. He left for so many years, you know, and he's just stepped back into it like nothing's changed, except, you know, he's in his like late 40s, and you know AJ is in his peak. So there's got to be some reasonable like actual thing to this, and especially like on SmackDown, they brought up the fact that it's just under regular rules, you know, as well. He can't out wrestle AJ. It's not a joke.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I thought this, you know, unless they do it, you know, straight on the pre-show and they announce something, I don't know, but I thought this was going to be a, you know, a sort of no DQ match and all the rest of it, but maybe they're just using that for Triple H. You know, this is just, I mean, again, it's like somebody else's spot here as well. I mean, you think of the guys like Luke Harper that have been involved, and we thought he was going to be in the main event. He's nowhere to be seen. I mean, you know, he'd probably be in the Battle Royal now. Even him and AJ, I could have rather have seen that than this. There are lots of other matches that AJ could have had than just Shane. I'm quite sure of that. The feud to it, Matt, hasn't been much better. It's been pretty strange. Everything that AJ said, I found myself agreeing with. How Randy Orton didn't get arrested after what he'd done, and then he is. And there's, you know, real conflicts of interests here. The whole thing where he attacks Shane and put his head through a car window, and then in ridiculous camera angles coming out of nowhere, just absolutely bizarre. It's just something I've not enjoyed. It's been a bit cringy to watch, to be quite honest with you. And you know, are we to expect with all this extravagant set that we have at WrestleMania that they've built something just tailor made for Shane McMahon there, Matt, to do a dive off of? I mean, I've got a feeling that's going to be something that's going to play into this, even if it is a singles match. I'm almost guaranteeing that something they've built there is custom made for Shane to do something off the top of. You know, it's going to. I mean, he's bound to do one thing in that match, isn't he?
Yeah, you know, he's got to have his moment like that makes him look good. You know, he has them all the time. It's like I would just love them to book it realistically, where he just gets walked over for once. You know, I know he's like got respect in the company and that, but he doesn't really need to be in the ring, you know. And I haven't heard one person yet that actually wanted to see him in the ring. And just like you said, there's so many other talents out there, and so many other wrestlers that aren't getting their fair shot. And to go against someone like AJ would have just been great for them. Even if they were to lose to AJ, it's just great. It just reminds me like when Ellsworth was in there with AJ, you know, we're going back to this kind of thing. How many people are going to get a shot at AJ before he gets some respect? Yeah,
crikey, I don't feel like Ellsworth should be in this than him. Right, well, I mean, I mean, do you just suspect, Matt, because AJ's got like all that respect kind of thing going for him, is there a possibility that fans could side with AJ in this match, that people are negative about this match, and you know, the novelty of last year's worn off now, and that might have got a pass with Taker, but in this one, he's going up against, like, last year it's one thing to go against The Undertaker, who's a face, so you can both be cheered, but in this, it really has to be that AJ is the bad guy, and Shane needs to get cheered, and he needs to probably, you know, there's going to be a lot of moments where he's going to need that baby face kind of like, you know, sympathy vote from the fans. Do you think there's a possibility, Matt, of that not going to plan, and fans maybe having a little bit of fun with this one because they already don't like the idea of it, so this might be the one they sort of crap over, if you will, that night? Do you suspect that could happen, or do you think this is going to play out okay in that sense with reaction?
Well, you know, I've got a feeling that if I was there at WrestleMania, I'd be one of those fans, you know. I'd be calling this BS as well, booing it, shouting at Shane, you know. That would be my way of thinking. Because last year, at least they'd thought about it a little bit more. Yeah, because coming into the match, there were fans of Shane McMahon there. I mean, there were people that wanted to see him involved in the company. You know, apparently he had to win that match to be involved in WWE. So anyway, forget about that history-making moment that went wrong. But anyway, that was the rules, and that was why people were getting behind Shane, because they wanted to see him back in the WWE. But this one just seems like AJ has everything to lose. If he loses to Shane McMahon, he just lost to Shane McMahon. That's not a great thing for him to be doing. And I think, I would definitely be 100% behind AJ. He's got everything to gain from this. He needs to actually beat Shane just so that he can say he's not a jobber.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm going for an AJ win. Surely, to God, he wins this one. But Matt, I'm taking that's the same from you.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Yeah, Matt, is there any way we're going to come out of this on Monday and we both might turn up and be like, that was shockingly good? Or do you think I'm hoping for a lot there?
I wouldn't say shockingly good. I will say, perhaps there will be a moment when Shane is going to definitely showcase something outrageous, but it won't be his in-the-ring skills.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, let's move on. Let's go to a Raw match now, shall we? US title match, Matt. Kevin Owens up against Chris Jericho, the champion Jericho. Obviously, we thought this possibly was going to be for the Universal. We spoke about that since. I don't want to harp on about that too much. But the feud between these two, Matt, it's one of the more longer term feuds. I've got to say, I would have liked to have seen it gone a little bit longer. I didn't like the reveal. I didn't like the twist when they finally did it. The setup was a little bit odd and the timing was weird. Like it was 1 week before Fastlane, and that just sort of gave it all away that you knew then that perhaps Kevin Owens was not going to be winning that night, which was a little bit of a, I thought the execution, sometimes it's always about the execution of the turn when they do it. It's all really important, and I felt like it's one of the ones that wasn't done so great. Like the anticipation, it got a bit of a pop, but then it sort of, the way they act with one another sometimes, no disrespect to Jericho and Kevin Owens, they're both great workers, but I kind of feel like when they've been in the tag team matches that they've been doing, like they're kind of like smiling at each other. There needs to be a little bit more hatred for me between these two. I'd like to see a little bit more of that, more aggressive, sort of more Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens sort of style. But I think the match is going to be a tremendous match. There's no doubt about that. It's just got one of the potentials to be a show-stealing performance. As far as you, Matt, with the feud, how have you found it? And has this been one of the more better ones for WrestleMania?
Yeah, it's been that natural progression. I mean, I guess from the moment it started, we couldn't see their kind of partnership lasting forever. WWE definitely had this payoff in mind, but it's a bit of a shame because I was really hoping they would just let it go. I mean, it does not always, like, every time there's a partnership, it has to explode. Yeah. Sometimes I do like to see it last the test of time, and, if Jericho came back and could rekindle it, it would be great. I mean, fans were really into it, and it wasn't like they were going to get bored of it, because if Jericho was going to go anyway, they could just take a break, then come back, and then have fresh ideas, and it'll be good. It's just they always feel the need, like, this could be the last time they get to pull the trigger, so they're going to do it now. But huge disappointment in my eyes, but I'm sure they will have a great match, and it's just a disappointment also that it's not for the Universal title, because it really should have been. I'm sure when they had the ideas of this, they didn't expect that they needed to put the title on Goldberg and bring that into their match, but it is what it is now, and this is what we got. It's for the US title, which isn't that bad, I guess, because there is some great history behind that, but it's a huge step down for Kevin Owens.
Yeah, well, obviously Jericho going into this as the babyface, obviously, I think he's done a good job at getting himself over there as the babyface again. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen this guy a little bit longer. I mean, they could have still done some great work where Jericho would be away on tour, and they could have done video feeds and where Kevin Owens is getting a little bit jealous and stuff like that of Jericho, that he's performing and he's there every week doing the stuff, and they could have done such a better execution of when Jericho got back and then do it, sort of like a jealousy type thing. But I do feel they've ruined that opportunity. They could have gone to SummerSlam and done something like that, or Survivor Series. and had Kevin Owens perhaps do something a bit different on this night. Nonetheless, we've got what we've got, as Matt said. I think it's going to be a great match. I'm not going to take that away from it. For me, Matt,